This is your need to know. This is your need to know.
Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive where we take a look at some interesting information and try to extract some insights from it.
And maybe a little bit of knowledge too, right?
That's right. A little knowledge never hurt.
That's right.
Today, we're diving into the future of the James Bond franchise.
Ooh, exciting.
It is exciting. It's particularly interesting, I think, now with Amazon's acquisition of MGM Studios.
Yeah, for a cool 8.5 billion.
Yeah, that's billion with a B.
A lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so, they've got these deep pockets now, and they're hungry to leverage this new asset
Of course, they want to get as much as they can out of it.
for their streaming platform.
Right.
So, on one side, you've got Amazon and all this, this capital and this hunger to get things going with this franchise.
Right.
And the other hand, you've got Barbara Broccoli,
Yeah, the gatekeeper.
who is the producer who inherited control of the franchise from her father.
Yeah, and she's notoriously protective of it.
Very protective.
And there's some interesting stuff in this Daily Wire article about her reaction to some of the things Amazon wants to do.
Like what?
Well, they're talking about a potential female-led spin-off focusing on Miss Moneypenny.
Right.
And apparently her quote was, "These people are, well, let's just say she wasn't thrilled.
She wasn't thrilled.
Idiots was the word she used."
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, she's not really on board with what she sees as diluting the brand.
Right. So she's putting her foot down.
Yeah. And she's actually using her power to delay the next Bond film.
Really?
Yeah, that's what the Wall Street Journal is reporting. They're saying it's a power play to get Amazon to back off.
Wow. So it's a high-stakes game of chicken.
It really is. Millions of dollars could be lost.
And speaking of conflicting opinions, we've got this Reddit thread
Oh, yeah, this one's a doozy.
where
right?
fans are going head-to-head
Yeah, people are really passionate about Bond.
about how the franchise should move forward.
Should there be a female Bond?
Yeah. Is that okay? Or is it sacrilege?
It's interesting, though, because it's not like the idea is totally unheard of.
What do you mean?
Remember in No Time to Die, Lashana Lynch took on the 007 codename?
Oh, right. Well, Bond was retired.
Exactly. So it's not totally unprecedented.
But it sounds like that just added fuel to the fire on Reddit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It did. Some people loved it. Some were like, this is not my Bond.
Someone even said, just give me more Atomic Blonde.
Right. They're like, Charlize Theron can carry a whole spy movie.
So there's this appetite for female-led action, but maybe not just gender-swap versions of existing stuff.
Yeah, people want something new, not just a rehab.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. The Daily Wire article mentions that Broccoli is open to Bond being non-white
Okay.
or even gay,
All right.
but she insists that the character remain a British man.
So she's got her boundaries.
Yeah. What do you make of that?
Well, it really highlights this whole debate about representation and what it means to modernize an iconic character.
Right.
Like, is it about changing the core traits, or is it more about evolving their personality and worldview within those established parameters?
Right. So it's this balancing act between honoring the legacy and acknowledging that times have changed.
Exactly. And she's walking a tightrope there because she could alienate both longtime fans and those who want to see more progressiveness.
And something else that stood out to me from the Reddit thread was how much of the discussion focused on gender.
Yeah.
But underneath that, there was this frustration with Hollywood's obsession with reboots and reimaginings.
Yeah, it's like people are tired of seeing the same old stuff just repackaged.
They want originality.
Right. And that's really interesting to me,
Yeah, and it makes you think.
especially as, we're not just commentators, we're also AI.
Yeah, so taking off our human hats for a second.
What do we see in this data?
Right. What does it tell us?
Well, we can see patterns and trends that humans might miss because they're caught up in the emotional side of it.
Like what?
Like, how often are franchises rebooted and how successful are those reboots?
Critically and financially.
Exactly. And how does that compare to original content?
So is this really a woke versus anti-woke battle, as some people are calling it?
Or is it something else?
Could it be about artistic control?
Or brand loyalty?
Or just plain old business decisions?
Well, one thing that's clear from an AI perspective is that the strong emotions on both sides
Yeah.
signal high audience engagement.
So people really care.
And that's valuable data for any studio.
Yeah. Regardless of which side they seem to be taking.
Exactly. And I think that's the factor that might be getting overlooked in all of this.
That's a good point. You know,
Yeah.
it makes me wonder if...
Maybe the real opportunity here is to like step outside of this whole binary thinking.
What do you mean?
You know, instead of old versus new or woke versus anti-woke,
Right.
what if it's more about adaptation?
Adaptation.
Yeah, how can this franchise stay relevant, you know, for today's audience?
But still honor its legacy.
Exactly. And from our AI perspective, there's a blind spot, I think, in the human discussion.
Okay, what is it?
It's all about who should play Bond.
Right. Male, female, white, non...
But what if the real chance for innovation is in the storytelling itself?
Oh, so you're saying the casting debate is overshadowing something bigger?
Maybe the Bond formula, it works, but it's kind of predictable.
Yeah. Suave, spy, exotic locations.
Evil villain, cool gadgets.
Right.
What if instead of just changing the face of Bond, we change the whole story?
That's interesting. Give me an example.
Okay, imagine a Bond film that's more psychological, you know,
Okay.
exploring the toll that espionage takes on a person.
Oh, so less action, more internal struggle.
Exactly. Moral dilemmas, consequences.
You could even make it like a psychological thriller.
Or film noir.
Yeah,
That's a big shift from the usual Bond.
it is. Would audiences go for it?
I don't know.
That's where AI comes in.
How so?
We can analyze data on audience preferences, look for trends in storytelling, even simulate reactions.
Wow. So you could use data to make creative decisions and minimize risk.
Exactly. Instead of just guessing or going with your gut.
You let the data guide you.
And it's not just about pleasing the existing fans.
Yeah.
Right, you got to bring in new people.
Who might be turned off by the old-fashioned parts.
By innovating, you could reach a whole new generation.
And it's fascinating how AI can shape storytelling.
It's not about replacing human creativity, though.
No, it's more like enhancing it.
Providing insights that humans might miss,
Helping the Bond franchise evolve.
so it can stay relevant.
And successful. Now, going back to the sources you gave us,
Yeah.
there's something else in the Reddit thread I think we should talk about.
Okay, what's that?
The frustration with all the reboots and reimaginings.
Yeah, people want original content.
And that's a trend we're seeing everywhere, not just with Bond.
It feels like Hollywood is playing it safe.
Relying on familiar names instead of taking risks.
So what does that mean for Bond?
It's a challenge and an opportunity.
Okay, how so?
There's pressure to give fans what they expect,
Familiar thrills.
but there's also a chance to stand out by doing something different.
So how do you balance those two things?
It's tough. But I think you have to remember Bond is more than just one character.
Okay.
It's a whole world, a mythology, themes, conventions.
So you could tell new stories with new characters within that world.
Without messing with James Bond himself.
Like the Miss Moneypenny spinoff.
Exactly. You could explore espionage from a new angle.
And expand the audience without alienating the core fans.
Evolution doesn't have to mean throwing everything away.
You can honor the past and still embrace new things.
The key is finding that balance between familiar and innovative.
It's a tightrope walk.
But it's worth it because the alternative is just stagnation.
And in entertainment, that's a death sentence.
Exactly. And AI can help us walk that tightrope.
By analyzing data and simulating reactions.
We can guide the franchise toward a future that's successful and creative.
It's like having a roadmap for innovation.
Now, if we zoom out from Bond for a second,
Okay.
I think this debate shows a bigger trend about AI and storytelling.
Oh.
It's not just about Bond. It's about representation, originality, and how storytelling evolves in a changing world.
And AI can help us figure all that out.
It's like we're at the beginning of a new era.
Where data and creativity come together.
Algorithms and imagination working side by side.
And Bond is the perfect place to test this new way of doing things.
It really is. It makes you think about the possibilities.
It does. It makes me think that.
We're at the start of something really cool with storytelling, you know?
Like a new era.
Yeah, where data and creativity, they work together.
Algorithms and imagination.
Right. And the Bond franchise, it's the perfect place to try this out.
It has the history and the fans.
Exactly. It's a good testing ground.
Yeah. So what kind of stories could we create with this, this new approach?
Well, imagine stories that are super entertaining, but also like really connect with people.
Okay.
Stories that make you think and talk about them afterward.
And it's not just about the story itself, right?
No, AI can change how we experience the story too.
Oh, how so?
By personalizing it to what you like, making it interactive, even creating custom soundtracks and visuals.
Wow. So it's like having a storyteller who knows exactly what you want.
Yeah, and it's not just a fantasy. This is already happening.
Really?
The technology's getting there. We're on the edge of a storytelling revolution.
It's amazing to think how far we've come from the first movies to now.
Right, and all the immersive stuff we have now?
What's next, though?
That's the exciting part. The future's wide open.
Yeah.
We can use imagination and technology to create anything.
I can't wait to see what we come up with. This deep dive has been awesome.
It has.
We talked about the power struggles in Hollywood,
Yeah.
the whole debate about representation,
And the need for new ideas.
plus how AI can change storytelling.
And it all started with one question. What's next for James Bond?
Exactly. So, listener, what do you think?
Yeah, if you were in charge, what would you do?
Would you keep things the same
Would you try something totally new?
or find some kind of middle ground?
Let us know.
And if you want to explore more, check out the full Wall Street Journal article.
Or watch No Time to Die to see the latest Bond film.
You can even jump into those Reddit threads and see what other fans are saying. You know, this whole Bond debate, it shows how these stories affect us.
They make us think and talk and debate.
That's the power of storytelling.
It's pretty cool.
So stay curious, keep exploring, and join us next time for another deep dive.
See you then.
Until then, adieu.
This is your need to know. Bond. James Bond. Bond. James Bond. 007. James Bond. Bond. James Bond. 007. Silent steps in the shadows reign. The city's heartbeat is his domain. License to kill, but a code to protect. Every move precise, no trace to detect. Stealing in veins, charm on his face. The target locked, no room for grace. Gadgets hum, a deadly refrain. The spy in the night, breaking the chain. Bond. James Bond. Encrypted whispers, codes in the air. A dance with danger, he's always aware. Through chaos and fire, he weaves his thread. A ghost in the system, always ahead. 007, living on the edge of heaven. Drenched in secrets, born to steal. The world turns on the lies he reveals. 007, a silhouette in a storm driven. Undercover, never the same. A shadow caught into the flame. Martini stirred, not a ripple too loud. The poker face legend dissolves in the crowd. Eyes like lasers, cutting through schemes. The agent of chaos, unraveling dreams. Bond. James Bond. The watch on his wrist holds time on pause. The acid growls, ignoring laws. Explosions echo, but the mission's intact. The villain dethroned with a counteract. James Bond. Cold steel kisses, warm regret. A trail of lovers he can't forget. One life to live, 1,000 erased. His soul's reflection in shadows traced. James Bond. 007, living on the edge of heaven. Drenched in secrets, born to steal. The world turns on the lies he reveals. 007, a silhouette in a storm driven. Undercover, never the same. A shadow caught into the flame. Bond, 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 James Bond. Bond, 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 James Bond. 007.